to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Gary, thanks for coming. New studio and new wines.
Yes, thank you for having me. Good to see you.
It's been a few years, I think, since you've been here. And so what's changed? We had COVID, so that wasn't fun.
Right. That kind of changed things a bit.
How did that affect the wine business?
Predominantly for the wine business, we saw like a decline in sales at the restaurants.
Right.
Like over 80% because the restaurants closed, right?
Right.
And mostly, that's where most of your high-end wine is sold. But we saw in the grocery stores, it was up 88% that year, the COVID 2020. 88% growth. But that was mostly wines under, say, 15 a bottle.
So it almost evened out, but not because of the price
I think
difference.
in volume more was sold, but in
Right.
dollars probably less was sold. And
interesting.
Yeah. So for some guys it was a win. I would say generally the bigger wineries who do the cheaper wines, the value wines. For us higher end guys, we play in a lot of the Napa stuff and the coastal stuff, as you know. We do the valley grapes too. But the smaller high end guys with tasting rooms and selling to restaurants, they got hurt quite a bit during COVID.
So what's going on? Is it everything seasonal, or like some wines more poppin' during like the winter time and then some wines are bigger during the summertime? Tell us how that works.
Well, I mean, generally we're going into winter now, so generally you'll see people drinking a little bit heavier wines, which means more to the reds, and then springtime, summertime, you go
With the
more to the
lighters.
whites and rosés.
Okay, so what are we trying right now? We've poured a little bit of this one.
This is our Marmalade Rosé, which you can find online at marmaladewine.com, but you could also find it at some of the newer, bigger Save Marts. You could find it at Bevmo and Total Wines.
Do people think it's girly because it's pink? Do you get people that say that? I know some people act odd about plush wines.
You know, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, but rosé wines are the hot trend. I mean, it's been
I love it.
Yeah.
I love this one. This
I
is
mean,
one of my
Europe, they've
favorites.
always been popular. And about 10 years ago, there was a craze on the East Coast where rosés were going bonkers. And then we've seen it here the last 5 or 6 years where, you know, maybe if you went to the store 15 years ago, you see 2 or 3 rosés. Now you see 25 or 30 rosés.
Wow.
Yeah, you've got whole shelves of rosés now.
That is true. Yeah,
Yeah.
there used to not be as many options. Wow. Okay. So all these different varieties you have, like you have like grapes in Napa. You have different like grapes that you use, right? Different.
Exactly. So although my family's in the grape growing, for my wine business, my merchant business, which in Europe we're also known as negociants, in our wine negociant business, we buy grapes from about 360 growers.
Wow.
And we make over 130 different wines. And we supply almost up to about 600 brands out in the market.
Wow. Have you tried all 130?
No, I haven't.
I'm like.
I mean, no, the 130 that we make, I try those wines. But all the brands in the market that we supply, I haven't had all. I couldn't even.
You don't even know all 600? You couldn't even recite
I couldn't
that, right?
recite them though.
So sometimes you might see a wine, it could be yours and you're not sure?
Yeah. I know the main ones, the big ones. Like I could take my customer list and you know,
Right.
a lot of times I'm at a restaurant and it's kind of a fun thing to see how many of those wines that we need to supply on this menu.
That is so fun.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Oh, wow. This is really good. Okay, so what's the most popular, like, if you're going to give a Christmas gift?
Well, this time of year, you see, of course, Cabernet is always number one when it comes to reds. And in sales, Chardonnay is always number one. So those two, so we have our Agajanian Cabernet. And this one here is a Paso Robles grape from growers that we have there. And then in our marmalade, we switched it from the Agajanian Chardonnay to the Marmalade brand Chardonnay.
What's the purpose of that when you say you switched it?
It's kind of a lighter wine. Chardonnay is the heaviest of the whites, but we just wanted to try this label with the black label and the gold.
Well, it is pretty.
And this is actually Sonoma County Russian River Chardonnay, so this is about as high end as it gets. This is one of the best Chardonnays in the world. And if we were like in Sonoma or Napa in a tasting room, this would go for 65 to 80 a bottle, but we sell it for 28.
Wow.
Because I'm doing, wholesale volume, but not only that, I mean, we're doing small quantities, you know, hands-on, really high quality, but we don't have a market share for this, right? This is like a small, all these wine brands are a kind of a small percentage of our business.
And what's going on with our Grizzlies? So
I supplied the Grizzly wine for about 3 years. Last year, we took a break from that. They had some previous inventory. We still have some inventory, so we actually sell it through the Save Marts and the market on Herndon and West. So some of the stores are still carrying it. This spring we'll probably come out again and kind of reintroduce it when baseball season starts. But we have the Grizzly White blend and the Grizzly Red blend.
do you go to the Grizzly games?
I go to some of the games.
And you're
when I'm
like,
in
here's
town.
my wine.
I go to some of the games I'm in town. It's really kind of fun to have. And they're really good wines. They're not very expensive. I mean, the retail is theoretically $20, but we sell it at a price of the stores where they're selling it much less than that. I think in the Grizzly Stadium, I can't quote how much they're selling them for, but they go through a bit. We also did wines for some other baseball teams like the Visalia Rawhide. We did their wines, and also the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. Oop,
Oh yeah, you know, I used to live in Southern California, so I'm familiar with where Rancho Cucamonga is.
So yeah, we did that one too. So they each had a red wine. I guess on the Grizzlies, they switched to a new label, so they went from that older style label to this.
Oh,
newer,
I do. I like the newer one where you have the little
bears
claw, yeah.
clawing across. So yeah, so it's the white is a blend of Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and Pinot Gris.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
really
it's
cool.
really good. And
So that's why it's a variety. That's why it's called red or white because
Right.
you're using multiple. Okay.
that's why we're saying red blend, white blend.
What are we trying next, Gary?
Whatever you want. You're the boss.
what do
Now,
you get?
I do apologize. I forgot to bring my actual wine glasses
Oh, no.
with my logo and the pretty one, so that's why we got the paper cups.
People can't see how much we're drinking, so hey. No, this wine is so good because I mean I've drinking this wine many a times and it's very it's very smooth, so you can actually drink a lot of it, right?
So this Moscato, like many Moscatos, is a light, sweet style. It's not a sweet style. When people say sweet, sometimes they think dessert, and it's almost like
Yeah,
syrup.
they always think it's like a liquor.
It can be used for dessert, but it's more an aperitif, like for appetizer time.
Right, that makes sense.
So it's light sweet. It's about 2% residual sugar. So that's actually on the borderline of being dry, technically.
I love it. No, I think all these are very smooth. They're very good. Okay, so Christmas time. What do we got going on for businesses and Christmas? What can we do?
Well, one of the things that we're doing is we're doing a promotion, and it should be online on our website. We have two websites, agajanianwine.com. I'm sorry, excuse me, agajanian.com, and also marmaladewine.com. And the promotion is basically 3 bottles or more and you get free shipping. And then there's some packages on there where if you put 3 bottles together of certain things like the 3 marmalades, there's like a 30% discount if you buy 3 together.
Who would get less than 3?
I don't know. But
Does that ever
anyway,
happen? I'm just gonna get 1 bottle.
No, a lot of people buy 6 bottles or a case.
Right. No, yeah, I wouldn't imagine getting less than 3.
So yeah, we can ship those to.
That's about who would get less than 3. I mean, you can't get, you have to have at least 3.
Yeah, you might as well buy the 3 and get the shipping.
There's no reason, yeah. But okay, so if a business wants to slap their company logo on, how do we go about that?
Okay, so we call that custom private label. So there's a type of private label out there that people say private label. They say, oh, you mean white label? See, white label is, and we can do this too, like if you want to take one of the wines that we have, like one of the white blends or Pinot or Cab, whatever we already have, and you want to have your brand on it, we can do that, white label. So it's our stuff. If you want a custom, we can actually put, on either one, we can put your label, your brand, you give me the artwork, whatever your company logo is.
So I can do everything
whatever.
sparkle, and then I'll look like I have my own wine, and people will be like, oh my gosh, you have your own wine? And I'll just be like.
We can make your own wine. So you tell me what you want, Napa Cab or Central Valley Zinfandel or Merlot or whatever.
And it's something you kind of give out to the holidays, like if you have like a 200+ employee, like you can tell everyone, here's our wine for that.
A lot of people use it for corporate gifts or reward gifts, or realtors might use it when they show a house.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that. I try to go to car dealers and say, you should give a bottle of wine when someone test drive a car. I say, well, they shouldn't be encouraging drinking and driving. I say, you can give it to them and don't drink it while you're driving anyway.
That's a great idea. And they didn't hit you up on that?
Well, one company in Utah did.
You know what? I'm going to buy a car. I'm going to tell them I'll only buy a car if they do that idea.
Yeah, so, and some hotels, you'll see hotels in Napa have wines in the room. Like, you know how they have the resort fee in some places?
Exactly.
You're paying this resort, what are you getting? You're going to be at the resort anyway. So at least some places give you a bottle of wine with that resort fee that you're paying. So that's kind of a fun thing. We do some of those wines for those kind of, so then we'll put the hotel's label on it.
It's incentive. So yeah, whatever gets that incentive going. Okay, so so you probably do pretty good deals for that, like if people are getting like 200 bottles and stuff.
Exactly. Well, our minimum is really 56 cases, which is 672 bottles.
Right.
So there's 12 bottles in the case.
I get it, okay.
Just to make it efficient to run the equipment.
That's right. I mean, the more labels you get, the cheaper it usually becomes for anything. Anything.
And it really gets inexpensive when you get more than 500 cases or 1,100, which is a truckload. And that's where we're getting into kind of commercial quantities, where if there's a little grocery store chain or even Save Mart or somebody that wants their own brand, they're going to be buying truckloads anyway, and then they'll get much better pricing.
Does wine never go to waste? Does it ever get old?
Not around me.
So this is great. So they need to go to the website. So what's the time rate? So Christmas is right around the corner, kind of. So if someone's watching today, what do they need to do to go about, like, oh yeah, I want to do it as a company for a company party. I want to give out the wines. They can just get a hold of you.
That's the best thing is call me and I'll set you up with our winemaker.
You can make it happen kind of quick, like in a few weeks.
A lot of it we can do in 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
If we already have the wine and things at our finger. If you want something real custom and special that we don't already have in stock, then it'll take a little more effort. So,
okay, so basically if I just want to slap my label on what size I like the rosé, I want to slap my label on that wouldn't take too long.
No, that wouldn't be that hard a thing. So, you know, we're obviously too late for Thanksgiving, but for doing stuff for Christmas, I think we have a little time still to do the private label.
And then some people just act like it's their wine, and that's...
I don't care what they do.
You're like...
It's your wine. Once you get it, it's yours. I want to make the customers happy. And a lot of people, too, they ask me, like, what wine do you like? I say, it depends on what I'm eating and what mood I'm in, and a lot of things affect your taste buds. If you had coffee in the morning or not, that affects your taste buds. Everything you do.
Everything affects her.
And for my clients, I say, it doesn't matter what I like. What do you like? You're gonna do something with this wine. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna give it away. So you make the wine you want. And that's what we try to do. We try to.
And then I'm sure if things aren't selling, you kind of discontinue them.
Yeah, I mean, we tried Gewürztraminer for a while, which is a variety I like.
What's it called?
Gewürztraminer.
So what is that?
It's like a German, Austrian wine. It's a white wine.
And you liked it, and then people didn't really like it.
I made it like, okay, I like this wine.
You were excited about it, and everyone's like,
not nobody else, but like.
It wasn't popular.
What I find is like winemakers and people in the business love it, but consumers, very similar to like Syrah. Like we kind of like Syrah.
I like Syrah. Why don't we have Syrah here?
It doesn't sell. I tried Syrah. People don't want to buy it. It's a great wine. It's like a little soft.
I know. I love Syrah. Now that you say that, I'm like, I like Melbacks too. Do we have any? Do you?
I don't make a Melback, but.
I'm sorry. Now I just put out all these. I like things that you have. Too.
We have access to Malbec. We can make that. Like if you wanted a Malbec, give me a year. We'll have to harvest the next crop and make the wine. But we can make Malbec or anything you want. No, it's kind of fun.
What if somebody really did want to custom make with you, where they're like, I don't know how this, or this could be like a dumb question, but like, you know how people like have their makeup and their brand and everything. So what if someone wants to have their brand, their own wine, but somehow want to use your like know-how production, your grapes? Can you ever collaborate like that with somebody?
We do that a lot, actually.
You do? So there are people that come to you and they're like, we just want to do that. So then it has to be like their exclusive thing.
Exactly.
And not one that somebody else has slapped their label on. That's a kind of like an exclusive deal.
Yeah, so that's like a white label, private label thing that we do. Wines that we make is like, here's what we got, and you'll taste it and you'll say you like it or not. But on the collaboration with other brands, our winemaker will meet with their winemaker or their owner, and they'll work on blends and varieties and what they want and what you know, whatever it is, and we'll make it right custom to what they want, their flavor. So it will be different than our wines.
And I know celebrities, they always go for like vodka or tequila. They never really make wines. I wonder why that is.
Well, you've seen some, like there's that 19 Crimes brand that's made by a big winery.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there's that one rapper who has a brand there, and sorry, I can't remember his name. And another one, Martha Stewart has a brand with them.
Oh, okay.
So the brand is 19 Crimes. So they,
Oh, like Snoop Dogg.
Oh, Snoop Dogg, yeah.
She worked a collaborator.
so
Okay, that
Snoop
makes
Dogg
sense.
has a red wine, and
That's funny.
Martha Stewart has the white wine.
So they need to work with you to make something.
Well, they're actually working with one of our clients. So we're supplying a lot of the grapes. We don't make the wine. We supply the grapes, and
Wow.
Yeah.
So when next time I drink like Snoop Dogg wine, I'll be like Gary Agajanian had a hand in
I
it.
had a part of it. Yeah.
I love that.
Isn't that
What a great story.
It's a small world, right?
Oh my God. So how did you get into that? You said your family grows grapes. How did it turn into like this business?
So yeah, Grandpa came and during the genocide, and it was also the time of World War I. All four of my grandparents came, and my grandfather, first job. I mean, he's coming here speaking no English, only speaking Armenian, no money, but he got a job in Madeira at a winery. And the wine, I said, it was the Mission Bell Winery that was, built by the Catholic monks who set up all the missions, and each mission had a winery. Apparently it got sold at some point. And an Armenian guy bought it in like 1885 or 1886.
Wow.
And it was the 5th biggest winery in the world at that time, right there in Madeira. And so my dad got a job there. My grandpa got a job there because he was Armenian, and the owner was Armenian. And so my dad grew up. My dad was born in 1926. He's still alive, by the way.
Wow.
96 years old. And anyway, my dad grew up speaking Armenian and Italian. And I said, I understand the Armenian part. Your mom and dad are Armenian, and all they spoke was Armenian. But how did you come to learn Italian? He said, at the winery, they only spoke Italian. I said, why Italian? You were here in California, like, why Italian? Because the winemakers at that time, there was no Fresno State, UC Davis, or Cal Poly teaching winemaking.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
So we had to import winemakers back then.
From Italy.
Italy, mostly what you saw was like a lot of Italian winemakers came to the West Coast, a lot of French winemakers on the East Coast. There was both in both. And I'm sure there was all kinds of other countries too, but those are the two main countries that brought in winemakers. So they were speaking Italian and my dad was kind of forced to go to school at some point. It wasn't much. He was more of a farmer, didn't want to. But he said he learned English kind of later in life.
Oh my goodness.
So he was 20 when he graduated high school.
Wow, that's such a great story. So he was doing that. Okay, so then he worked there. So how'd it go?
So Grandpa made wine. I mean, he made wine at the winery, but then he also made a little home. My dad made a little homemade wine, but my dad was never in the wine business. My father just grew grapes. So when I was a kid, we had like 100 acres, and by the time I got out of high school, we had 840 acres. So he bloomed it up during the 70s and 80s. He grew a lot. And I was there to help him plant the grapes, and I enjoyed it. Love of my life was to farm. Things got a little tough in the 80s, so I got a produce job in San Francisco, and I was a produce broker for almost a decade, and import and export. And the good part about that, so I lost my dream of being a full-time farmer, but I gained this skill of negotiating and meeting new people, and I went to like 17 different countries buying and selling fresh produce. So it was such a great education for me and experience. And after doing that for a while, I said, this is crazy, busy work. And I love it, but it's like harvest day every day on some crop, from anywhere from asparagus to zucchini. Something's harvesting every day. So I said, this is crazy. So I felt like, I used to always say, we make stockbrokers look like they're falling asleep. Like in produce, it's perishable. I mean, you have a timeline to get it sold and moved. So I decided I'm going to do a similar kind of work, only with wine grapes, because I love the wine business. I love the smell of wine.
The shelf life's way better.
The shelf life's
There's
better.
not a
Once it's
timeline.
bottled, once you're made the wine, it'll last. Alcohol's the greatest preservative there is, and that's what keeps wine for a long time. That's why it ages. So yeah, and so I started off as a middleman, buying and selling grapes, helping other growers sell their grapes. That's my main purpose, was to
helping farmers like you once were.
Helping other farmers get a good home for their grapes. And of course I found better returns and better loyalty with a lot of the coastal wineries who wanted to bring in some valley grapes to blend in. So I did that for a few years until one winery up in Sonoma wouldn't pay me for the grapes. And a year went by. I said, I need this money to get harvest started for the next year. You got to pay me. He said, I don't have the money to pay you. The only thing I have is this tank of wine I made from your grapes. So he said, you can sell that tank of wine, you can get your money. So I went and sold that tank of wine. I enjoyed it, and I got more money than I would have got from the grapes. I said, this is a new business.
No way. So
Yeah.
you getting kind of screwed over actually helped you in the long
yeah.
run?
So
That is so cool.
yeah. So that's what I
Wow.
think in life. Like just when I couldn't make the farming work full time, I got into something better, and then I couldn't make the grape middleman business work as good as I
produce,
wanted.
yeah.
I got screwed over essentially, and it turned out to be a blessing. I found something better. Now, most of my business is wine. I'm doing still the grapes too. So we're doing grape merchant business and the wine merchant business. So
Well, it probably helped you out because all the growers wanted to work with you. All the growers knew you were genuine trying to help them. So they wanted to work with you, and you're like, okay, now I'm going to get into wine.
yes, yeah, we have a good time. We have a good time getting supply with growers. Good grower relationships. There's a lot of like what look like competitors in the business or brokers. We're not brokers. We buy it, the grapes, we own them, and we make the wine, we resell it, and we take ownership. And my job is to make sure these growers get paid on time, even early, and my goal is to pay them more than the big wineries pay.
Do new growers come to you? Like right now, we're in a water crisis, and a lot of growers are losing their crops. Do people ever come to you and be like, I want to be one? What do I need to do to be one of your suppliers for grapes? Or
Yeah,
not?
all the time.
So what do they need to do to be part of your new?
Well, we got to go meet with them.
Because you can't probably say yes to, if it happens all the time, you can't say yes to everybody, right?
You can't, but we make the effort, so we'll meet everyone. We'll inspect the vineyards. We'll see what their quality is and see if we got a place for
So
it.
that's where it really comes down to quality.
Quality's important, and it doesn't always have to be peak perfect stuff, but there's markets for everything. We don't necessarily deal with value wines, like wines below $7 a bottle. We don't have a great entrance into that market because the huge wineries dominate the cost structure. We just can't beat them. So we'll let the bigger wineries,
Like Gallo
Constellation Wine Group, they're in a league of their own. They're really big wineries. Of course, Gallo's still huge in the United States. They're still the biggest by far, and they do a great job. You look at these bigger wineries. Sometimes people grumble and complain about them because everyone wants them to pay more money. But they got to compete in the market, and they're competing with Europe. They're competing with South America. They're competing with South Africa. They're competing with wines that can sell for $4 or $5 a bottle. So that's what they're competing with on a lot of the volume that they do. So I don't blame them for not, paying the growers more money, and that's where I try to come in with growers, help them grow a better quality crop that I can send to some smaller wineries, some coastal wineries that'll pay a little more money and have a little more loyalty to that quality.
Wow. And then you say you're selling a lot in Europe and everything. How does it work with like Europe and then here? I mean, is there like a snobbiness to like, oh, our wines are better, or they're like really receptive to like, we want the Napa Valley wines? How has that changed over time?
There might be a snobbiness on, say, the consumer level, the restaurant level, and the wine shop level, like these people that are on kind of the retail edge of the business. But when you're in the wholesale end of the business and the truckload volume business, they respect us a lot. Because California wine is unbelievable in many ways better because we can get full maturity on grapes every year because of our weather.
Right. I would think so.
Yeah. Whereas, in Europe they have this thing called a vintage year. And essentially the definition of a vintage year is the grapes get ripe, which happens about 3 out of 5 years in Europe.
Wow. So they're having some dead time.
Because they have years where it's so cool that they won't fully mature. And of course over there they're allowed to add sugar to their grapes and their fermentation to get the alcohol up.
And we're not.
We're not allowed to add sugar.
Is that ever going to happen where we are going to be allowed
We
to?
don't need to because we can get our grapes mature. We farm them right, we get them mature. I don't care what the weather is. So that's the blessing we have here.
Wow.
In
They
California.
need that extra kick.
Yeah. We got 100% natural wines, 100%. Like it's so easy to make an organic wine. A lot of guys don't get certified organic with the licensing guys, 98% of the wine is organic just by default, because there's really a lot of things you can't put in a wine that by regulation, but just by practicality. Why spend extra money processing stuff if you don't have to? The more natural, the better the flavor.
That's great. Well, I love these wines, so now this is a perfect gift.
Yep.
And now all we have to do is buy them in bulk from you.
Exactly.
And we're in 3 bottles, which everybody should be doing anyway. Who only buys 3 bottles of wine?
Exactly. Buy a case, and if you want your private label, buy a pallet of wine.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
So it's agajanian.com and marmaladewines.com. Is that
Yeah,
right?
marmaladewine.com.
Yeah.
Not plural.
Oh, okay.
Marmalade wine. Anyway. Yeah, we're having fun with it. It's a lot of fun. We get to have great enjoyment of the wine, but of course wine always goes with food, so there's always fun dinners you can throw, and just at home every day. You know, one of the things I did with my kids since they were really young, which, you know, it's legal to drink at home when they're underage, but anyway, we didn't make them drink, but we'd water it down a little bit. And you know, my kids are in college now, and they're not party animals, at least what I know. But you know,
Like, oh yeah, we've been having the vino forever.
they've had wine all their lives, just like I did. I had wine ever since I was a kid. So when I get to high school and college, all my friends are like chasing after beer and wine and alcohol. It's like, what's the big deal? I mean, I have wine every day. Like, what's the big deal?
I
like,
love that. That is hilarious. Oh my! And then this is, I imagine this all kind of goes back to our local, because with Grizzly, when we support that, you know, the money's going all kind of locally in that realm,
It
right?
is. And those grapes that go in the Grizzly wine are local, Madera and Fresno County. The Marmalade Moscato, the Rosé's out of Madera, the Moscato's out of Fresno.
Oh, so I've been drinking purely local wines today.
These are
That's
all local
awesome.
wines so far. Yeah, it's just when I get a little bit higher end, and you know, I can make I've tried making higher end wines. I made a great Zinfandel here for years off my own vineyard, really high end, but no one really respected it because it came from the valley. So I feel like I got to go to Russian River or Paso Robles or even Clarksburg, which is.
Well, sometimes people don't respect Zinfandel in general. Like I've already been shamed too much ordering that. I will never order a Zinfandel.
I love Zinfandel.
I know, but I've been shamed too much. I can't.
You know, it's making a comeback right now.
Well, so maybe I can start ordering it again.
It's making a comeback. It goes great with a lot of good wine.
I like it. No, I'm all about it.
It can go with a heavy red meat or whatever, just like a cab wheel, but it can go with spaghetti and lighter foods
Oh
too.
yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on my show, Gary, and thank you for giving me a little kick tonight.
Exactly. We got a few samples to get through this evening. So.
Thank you so much, Gary.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Coming on. I'm so happy you're finally here.
I know, it only took a million years, you know. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Okay, so you have like some really cool experiences. You got to tell our audience about this, about what you do.
So I'm a professional wrestler, like the WWE stuff, the stuff that's on TV. So I've been doing this for about 15 years now. Wow. Yeah, so it's not something I started doing yesterday.
How do you get into it in the first place?
So you have to get trained, and a lot of people, you know, for me, it was something that I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid. So I watched it grew up around it, played with the toys, did all that stuff, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be a pro wrestler, like, you know, and doubters, all that stuff, and teachers, you got to do this, you got to do that, you know, that's just a phase or whatever. But so long story short, I ended up finding a school here in Fresno. I was going to go to the Bay Area, and I got trained. So when you get trained, you got to not only learn the fundamentals, you got to be athletic, you got to be able to take bumps, and what I mean by bumps is fall in the ring.
Sometimes you get hit in the head, like with glass. Sometimes you get cut in the head too, right? Sometimes.
Sometimes, I mean, I've gotten hit in the head with steel chairs, stuff like that.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's very taxing on the body, I'll say. I mean, they did a research on it a few years back, and every bump you take in a professional wrestling ring is equivalent to getting rear-ended by a car going 20 miles an hour.
I bet. And so, okay, so one of my best friends growing up, like she was a wrestler too. Her name was Lizzie Valentine. She never made it to WWE, but she was doing. And so she just told me like how much she ruined her body all in this. So what I don't get about the hype, because it's one of those sports that's a real sport. Wrestling is a real sport, but then it's like fake because you have to stage like wins and loses. How does that work? Like, how does it you do that, but then it's still a real sport? Like you're really good at what you do, but then sometimes you take a loss and sometimes you take a win. Explain that.
So there's a word that the professional wrestling community uses. It's called kayfabe. Okay?
Okay.
Kayfabe means we got to protect the business, all right? The business is very sacred to me, and you know, individuals I've shared the ring with. So without getting into too much detail, because it's a secret, we're like magicians. Okay?
Oh my goodness.
We can't. I can't tell you all the secrets, you know, but I will say it is predetermined. Okay, so with that being said, you still walk into a match very weary, because one accident you can be paralyzed for the rest of your life. It's happened before. It's happened to guys in the major leagues that are, you know, making millions upon millions of dollars. So, you know, although it is predetermined, you know, accidents do happen. And sometimes, for me, doing this for over 15 years, you have to improvise on the fly. There is no take twos in professional wrestling. You're live. You're live. You're live when they give you a microphone and you're in front of, for me, I've been in front of 17,000 people. And they're like, here's a microphone, go open the show. Talk about this.
So, what if you ever go kind of off script? Like, have you ever messed up where it's like it didn't go as planned? Like, I mean, what if someone's supposed to win and then they lose, or someone's supposed to lose and they win? I mean, do you get in trouble? How does it work? I know I sound really dumb, but I'm sure a lot of our viewers don't really know the ins and outs either. So explain that.
So I'll tell you from personal experience. 2018, I was wrestling at a show in Santa Rosa, packed house. I think it was like 3,000 people. I was supposed to win the match. And I jumped off the middle rope to take a super kick to the face, and when I landed, I shattered my tib and fib in half. Literally broke it in pieces. So I immediately knew it was gone, told the guy, pin me, my leg's gone. So obviously, there was 3 other guys in the match. So I was supposed to win. I think we were like maybe 3 to 4 minutes into the match when we were scheduled to go 15 to 20. So I break my leg. I can't move. I can dog crawl, but that's it. But at that point, you're in excruciating pain. So I get my tag team partner comes back down, back from backstage, puts me over his shoulders, walks me back. It's a group of guys. They had to cut my boot off. My bone was sticking out. They x-rayed me. It looked like a pencil snapped in half. Within 24 hours, my foot swelled, and I looked like I was the Nutty Professor.
Oh my goodness.
If you just saw my foot, you'd be like, wow, this guy's like 500 pounds. Yeah.
Was that scary? I mean, were you afraid about some long-term shit at that point?
They told me that I needed to go see an orthopedic surgeon, that I had ligament damage, and that I needed to take 8 months to a year off, and I was back in the ring in a month.
I knew you were going to say you didn't.
I did not see a doctor. I rehabbed it myself, and you know, I'm still paying the price for that. But you know, it's it's what happens when you're passionate and you love something. You know.
You're seriously sick. There's something wrong with you.
You're not the first one that said that.
Okay, so how far are you? And then, okay, I imagine it's kind of like when you get high in demand, you demand more money. What are the kind of ins and outs like that?
So when you first start off, there's guys in the independents making $20 a night, okay, and they're traveling 3 and 4 hours to shows, and I mean, I just got done traveling myself to Phoenix, Arizona from Fresno. Okay. It was about 12 hours to get there. Me and my buddy carpooled because we were both on the show. Our match was 4 minutes long. So we drove about 11 hours there, stayed the night because we had to, and we drove back. And that, due to there was storm, took us 17 hours to get home for
Oh
a
my
4-minute
goodness.
match. It's very taxing on the body. But as far as pay goes, you up and comers will make $20. You know, that's what I started making when I first started.
You're not even getting gas money.
No. You know, it's tough.
Wow, okay.
You lose your tail financially. You know, you're not going to make any money on the independents unless you're a well-established name. Now, I do have friends that are on the independents that have television experience, or they're quote unquote what they call them indie darlings, and they're making up to $1,500 a night. So you times that by 3, they're working 3 nights a week. That's a nice little chunk of change
That
to
is a
wrestle
nice chunk of change, yeah.
5 to 7 minutes a night. Not only do they get that, but they get flight and hotel paid for. So there's guys that I've wrestled on the independents that were from WWE or the major leagues. For instance, Rey Mysterio, he charges $25,000 a match plus first class airfare.
Okay, so what does that mean? You could be independent and be on WWE? Like, what's the difference?
When you're in WWE, you're under a contract.
Right.
You're getting a salary. You are not
Okay.
allowed to wrestle on the independents. You are
That's what I thought,
strictly
okay.
contracted to them, and I believe the same with AEW. So
right now you're under contract. And how long
Right.
does that last?
a contract, usually it depends on the how they structured it. You know, it's kind of like football or basketball. You know, this guy signed a 3-year blah 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 amount of money, or a 5-year. You know, usually in WWE it's no more than 3 to 5 years for your first contract, and then there's guys that have developed their name, then they're on 10-year deals. You
Wow.
know, making, I think your minimum amount there is about $350,000 a year.
So how long have you been on WWE?
I've never been contracted with WWE. I've had tryouts where I went to the Performance Center. I've been on television with them. I was on TV and wrestled for 205 Live in February
right on.
of 2020, right before the
That's so
pandemic.
cool. Okay.
Yeah, at the SAP Center in San Jose. And I just did the LA Forum for AEW. I wrestled there.
Oh, I bet that was a big crowd.
Oh, it was like 17,000.
Oh my goodness.
And then I wrestled in Ontario, California the next night for AEW. And they are going to be here in Fresno in January. So
So was that your league? Would you call it
AEW.
AEW. So is that like WWE but a different level?
yeah, it's like a competitor.
So you,
yeah.
you still can wrestle people against WWE. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm not on a contract.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
are independent now.
I'm
You're
independent
sort
right now. Yep. Yeah, so I get to travel, go different shows. Every weekend I'm usually booked. Yeah. I've done tours in Mexico. I was supposed to do a tour in Japan for 4 weeks right before the pandemic. I was going to be wrestling in Tokyo at Karokian Hall, which is a huge monumental arena in Japan. Hulk Hogan's wrestled there, you know.
You never
Andre
got
the
to.
Giant. No, unfortunately due to the pandemic.
I know, but it never got back. It never got its thing where they, oh
No,
man. How do you have to wait for that to come around?
Right place, right time.
Oh my goodness.
That's what this business is about, right place at right time.
So do you have an agent at all, or are you just
No.
all fully independent? You
Me,
do your own
myself, and I.
deals. You make your deals every time.
Yep. Promoters will contact me. We want you for this date. If I'm free, okay. We'll structure a pay and go from there.
Is this your main job?
No.
Okay.
No. I own my own private investigating business.
Ooh.
I've owned that for about 13 years.
That is so cool. Oh,
Yeah.
I love this. This story gets even better.
Yeah. So
So we can call you if we want you to investigate
That's
people.
right. That's right.
wow, but you don't look like you could just blend in though. That's the problem with
I
you.
look like a cop, right? You can be honest.
Well, you're just you stand out. You're not
Yeah.
like on those, you know.
Yeah, I'm not an average Joe. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't get into any of this stuff to be average. So I don't have an average mindset.
So do you have people that work for you too in the private investigative world?
I do. I have a couple people, and a lot of the times I do it myself.
How does that go hand in hand? Because I mean, both seem kind of really time consuming.
They are very time consuming, especially in the private investigating world. Depending on the case, it can take, you know, time and effort, and there's a lot of variables and logistics that go into each case, you know, because every case is different, you know.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So that's what you say, when you have time you can wrestle, and then
Right.
when you don't.
Wrestling's always been my first love. It's my first priority. So that's kind of why I kind of have my own business, so I can take off, you know, because I don't really, I've never put anything before wrestling, if that makes sense, because I just love it that much.
I mean, what do your parents think about all this stuff? They must have hated you initially or like not liked it.
No, my mom got me into wrestling. She loved wrestling.
No way.
I used to sit on her lap and watch wrestling, and she would tell everybody my son's going to be a wrestler.
No way. She encourages crazy behavior.
She does. She does. Yet I have my best friend that we travel the world together, and his mom despises the business. He pretty much has to lie about being a pro wrestler. She knows nothing about it. I'm like, dude, you're a grown man.
But I understand that.
Man up.
I get it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so if people want to come to you for advice, or I guess the private investigator, where can we go to you? What's like your Instagram? Where can we go to you to get either or? Because I'm sure you help up and coming wrestlers kind of know what they're getting into.
Absolutely.
So where do we go to you for help or advice?
So my Instagram is at wiseguy1nick. One is the number one, then Nick, like my first name. And then my Facebook is Nick and then Ruiz, R-U-I-Z.
And does the private investigator ever get like violent? Do you ever have to use your wrestling skills? Like, because it gets dangerous, right?
It does. It does. I've been ran off roads. I've been ran over by cars. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
You're gonna have to come back so we can do just a segment on the private investigative side.
Yeah.
So sometimes you do have to use that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all the time. Comes with the territory, Yeah. I can't do desk jobs, I can't. I'm not a 9-to-5er.
But sometimes isn't private investigative work like that? Because sometimes you do like stakeouts, right? And you have
Surveillance,
to wait.
Report writing, just a lot of independent investigational, tactics, trackers, hitting cameras, all that fun stuff. It's fun.
But a stakeout seems kind of tedious for me. I don't know if I want to spend 10 hours in a car waiting and like
those
looking
are brutal.
and creeping. I'd imagine for you that's got to be,
You're falling asleep, It's too much for me. It's just too much. You can't leave your car.
Right.
So I try to stay away from stuff like that. I use the rookies to do stuff like that.
But now that we have cameras, do we need to do that anymore? Is that necessary that much?
You know what? To be honest, every client's different. Some people are old school. They like the traditional surveillance, follow somebody and get them landed and find out what they're doing, their activity and stuff like that. So it's still a very common tactic.
All right, so everyone, you guys need to get a hold of this man if you want.
I'm your man. Yeah.
Get a hold of him if you want to kick ass or you want someone to kick ass for you.
Yeah.
Get a hold of him.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on my show.
I appreciate your time. Thank you for having me. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on my show. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited. A little nervous, a little excited.
Well, I love women in fitness. I mean, that's like what I do. So tell me how you got started in all this.
Yeah, so I've always been interested in working out and just living a healthy lifestyle. I feel like it wasn't until I began having a lot of health issues myself that I wanted to really show other people that they can still be healthy, work out, and eat well, and feel better despite whatever they're going through. Because everyone has different things mentally, physically, so.
So what health issues did you go through?
There's quite a laundry list.
What do you want to talk about? That the main one that were
Without
physical.
getting too much into that, I have systemic lupus, and it's kind of affected my thyroid, affected different things.
What is that? Okay, so I recently had that. We did a topic on this recently about lupus. Because I don't know a lot about. I still don't. I mean, they answered great questions. But okay, what's systemic lupus? How is that different than like
regular lupus?
Yeah.
So there are 3 different types. There's drug-induced lupus. If you take something, it causes side effects in your body.
Okay.
Causes an immune system attack. There is one that affects your skin, and then systemic lupus has the potential to affect any system in your body. So that's the one I have. But if I'm being honest, eating well and working out to keep up my muscle mass has helped me more than any medication out there. And
I bet.
Yeah, and by I teach a lot of my clients more of holistic wellness, like think of just plant-based eating, healthy meats, working out, sleeping enough, and doing that myself has actually helped me heal a lot of the damage that lupus has caused. So
that's great to know, because I mean, doing a lot of drugs is never like the solution. It is always like eating healthy and working out. So
yeah, and it feels so much better. Like I tell people, if you don't feel good, you're not motivated, like come to the gym. You don't have to hit the ground running. Like, just walk on the treadmill and I'll guide you the rest of the way.
So what did your doctor say? Because again, sometimes doctors like to push all the drugs. I mean, they're always supportive of working on and all that, but they sometimes want to push all that. So at what point did you find a balance where you're like, no, this is what works for me. I'm not gonna, you do what they tell you to do, but then you also do your own thing. What was the balance in that?
So I actually went at least a hard decade doing all the pharmaceuticals and everything that the doctors told me, and that's what they're trained in. You know, they believe in it, but I just kept getting worse and worse. So over the past couple years, I started looking into, like, what are other remedies, you know, quote unquote natural and holistic stuff. And then this last year, I found a functional medicine doctor. She practices traditional Chinese medicine, so think a lot of herbs, really deep healing substances that do work in your body. So it's not just like, think well, meditate, and you'll be fine. Like, it's actual medicine, but just more herb and plant-based. And now I've started healing. I mean, before that, I just kept getting worse. So I've seen it almost feels like a night and day difference, even though it's been quite a journey. But that's why I'm a bigger proponent of living a lifestyle of health rather than just trying to mask the symptoms, you know?
Wow, that's really cool. And so what do you do now? So you have a client base, and you do dietary and you do actual physical fitness. So tell us how that works.
Yeah, so I offer in-person training, which is kind of like my main gig, and then I also do nutrition consults. So when a client comes to me, we'll do a quick phone chat or text conversation, whatever they're available for, to make sure that I can help them. And then if I feel like I can, which I've never had someone come to me with something that I can't really handle, then we'll come in for a first-time meeting and determine how many sessions a week works for them physically, or if they need to start first on a nutrition plan. Because if you're not getting the proper nutrients in your body, then you can do all the working out in the world, but you won't really feel your best, you know? It's kind of just like, yeah, you're driving your car, putting gas in it, but you're not changing the oil, you're not taking care of the tires, you're running them down. So it's about what you put in your body allows you to put out the energy that you want to spend so that you can repair, you know, refuel, do it all again.
So that's the kind of stuff that you focus on.
Yeah. Day-to-day, healthy living. And of course, people come to me wanting to lose weight too, aesthetic goals, which we can totally do. But then again, I want to ask them, like, if, you know, how do you feel too? We want to listen to the body's signals too. It telling you maybe it needs more recovery time, maybe you need to go harder. So I'm really about taking an intuitive approach.
Well, I think so, yeah. It might be the physical that gets them in there, like, I want to look like this, but then when they start feeling good, then it becomes addictive. And then they're like, I want to feel this good all the time, so it becomes more than like how you look.
Yeah, people will start with, I don't know, once a week, twice a week, and then, hey, can I add a day? Hey, can I add a day? Like, hey, can you help me with this? Yeah, and I'm like, yes, give me more. Like, I'll help people as much as they want to help themselves.
So where do we go to find you and get services from you?
So I operate out of Synergy Personal Training on Blackstone and Shaw in Fresno. It's the big, tall building that used to be Dan Gamble's place. Okay. We also have the Fresno Athletic Training Center, which includes, it's like one-of-a-kind equipment you can't really find elsewhere in Fresno, all compiled into one gym.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I am on Instagram at Hannah Marie Fitness, so Hannah_Marie_Fitness, and TikTok as well, and then Facebook, Hannah Howerton.
Right on. So how long have you been there?
I found home with Synergy in 2019, actually at our old location on First and Herndon, and then we moved to Blackstone and Shaw shortly after. So, and before that I was working at one of the local gyms, but I felt like I want to help my clients more one-on-one and not be confined to different gym protocols. So I feel like working at Synergy has helped me to individualize my approach a lot better. Yeah.
And so how did COVID affect all of that with your training and your location and everything?
There was a lot of park training. There was a lot of outdoor
I bet,
stuff.
right?
Yeah, hence all the equipment that I have, resistance bands now. I kind of, collected those, kept them in my trunk. And at that time, though, I was able to help people with nutrition more. So I did like over the phone consults or even written workouts and would send it to them for those who were willing to meet. Like we still did, but it was a transition. But like, especially when people are getting sick, you don't want to just sit around and not take care of your body. That's even more important of a time to take care of your body.
So, when we want to train with you, we pay the gym a fee and you a fee, or is
No.
it just you?
Just me, yeah.
Right on. That's great. And you don't have to say the price on there, but
Right.
so that's what you do. So it's like we just go to you and then we're covered.
Yeah, and I don't want money to be people's limiting factor only, and so
It's an
I can work
investment.
with people, can work with people to an extent, but it's like, you got to see it as an investment, right? Are you going to spend money on all these things that give you 1 minute of joy, or do you want to invest in a lifestyle that's going to bring you a lifestyle of joy?
Very true. Well said. And so if, what if people just want to work with you online? Because I know you specialize with a lot of people with physical challenges.
Yeah.
Is that possible, just to work with you online only?
Yeah, totally. I customize it to what each individual wants, so we can use an online training app, or some people just like me to write or type up their
Do you
workouts and
FaceTime
send
people
it.
and train them ever?
I have before, yeah, and actually I did that in 2022. I had a couple people do like video workouts, and I'll even film something real quick for my clients who train with me in person. I'll write out their home workouts or their gym workouts, and if they're confused, I tell them just call or text me if I'm available. I'll film it, I'll film it, and send it to you.
Right
So-
on. Well, thank you. I can't wait to work out and see what you're going to show me. Don't hurt me.
Nah, just a little.
Let's do it. Let's get this.
Let's go.
Okay, so what are we doing here today?
Okay, so we're gonna go through the basic movements that any beginner would want to know when they're first starting a workout. So first thing, warm up.
Okay.
So just follow me here. So let's do some arm swings here. Some of these look kind of silly, but honestly, the ones that look the most silly feel the best. And then give me 5 circles back. 4, 5, and forward. So this is about the point where we want to crank the music and keep it fun. And so if you come into my gym, we'll have plenty of that.
Oh my, what's the big music that we listen to? What's your jam?
I mean, I love rap and hip hop, but it depends on y'all, depends on who's in the gym. Kind of everyone's preference though.
Right on. Okay.
Roll out the ankles a little bit. And the other side. And then take a big wide stance. All you're gonna do is sit back into one butt cheek, side lunge. Press up through the heel, stand up. Other side, do about 10 total like that. Down and up. And breathe, don't hold your breath. In life, just don't hold your breath.
Wait, isn't that a song? Just breathe.
Yeah, so many. Right? Up and 10. And then feet about shoulders distance apart. Put your hands behind your neck. Squats. Everybody knows these, but does everyone do them right? So squat down.
Do you ever train other people with lupus?
Not with lupus. I haven't yet, but fibromyalgia, myriad of health conditions, thyroid conditions. And then we find people don't even know what they have, but they just don't feel good. So they start training and they start feeling better. One more. And then stand facing me, reverse lunges. So take a big giant step back, lower one knee to the ground, stand up. Just like that, we'll do 10. Yeah, so in a warm-up, you always want to make sure you work out, just do like a few exercises for the body part you're going to train. Today, we'll just hit the full body.
Right on.
3.
What's your least favorite exercise?
I don't know. Not
I'm sure you have one.
exercising.
Not on exercise, yeah.
I love it all. So then I'm going to show you push-ups, squats, and deadlifts with the dumbbells. So let's actually start with the squat. So you grab one dumbbell.
I thought we just did squats. Oh, darn, that was our warm-up.
Yes, that was a warm-up. Now I'm going to really check the form.
Oh, boy.
So right here, I want you to squeeze your elbows in, kind of show me the side of your arms here. Feet apart just like we did. Roll the weight to your toes and then roll it back. Be able to wiggle your toes whenever you squat so that you're not on your toes. We don't want to do the Michael Jackson here. Just kind of keep it sitting back and do a squat. So go ahead and show me here. And then give me 10. I'm going to kind of walk around you and just check your
Oh,
core.
you're going to walk around me. I like that.
Yep.
So,
when you
what
do-
are a lot of your clients like? Are they like men, women, all ages? What's kind of like your number one jam?
And then give me 5 more. I get men and women, like middle age, some people younger, 20s, 30s, kind of all around the spectrum.
Nice.
I've trained from ages 4 to 70.
Wow, 4?
So,
I've never trained
yeah.
a 4-year-old.
Yeah, she
My
was so much
oldest
fun.
client is 81, but I've never trained a 4-year-old. That's interesting.
And set that one down here. We're gonna go
That's
into
so
push-ups.
cool.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun. She loved to learn, and it was kind of a.
Why do they need to get a 4-year-old in personal training?
She is going into jujitsu, and so her parents wanted me to help her with her strength.
How badass.
Training.
That's good
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah, totally. I'm like, that's the way to teach your kids.
So you
for
could do
sure.
that at your gym.
Yeah, we
That's
have
the
a lot of
problem, because
kids.
we can't have 4-year-olds at our gym. I guess that's why I've never.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You have to go like 12.
Yeah, 12 or 6, something like that.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have kids.
I love that.
Families train. Like I've trained mother and son, whole families.
That's so
Their
cool.
kids separate times or together, so it's really fun.
Okay, what are we doing next?
Okay, push-ups.
Okay.
So hands on the ground, feet back in a plank, and then drop your knees first. Whenever you do this, I want you to slouch first, kind of bring the shoulders up towards the ears, and then do the opposite, pop the chest out. A lot of times people will do push-ups and they'll have their shoulders all hiked up,
hunched.
kind of like pecking the ground.
Okay.
Do not do that. It only causes neck pain. We ain't got time for that.
Definitely
So-
not. Right? Definitely not.
So you want your hands just under your shoulders, and then inch them like an inch out, an inch apart each.
Okay.
Face your chest forward, right there. Abs tight. You want to squeeze the butt cheeks together too as you lower down. It actually helps keep your core tight. And then just lower hard
you want knee
between your
push-ups?
hands. Yes, start like that. We're going to get into full. Don't worry.
Okay. I wasn't that worried, but you know. I was trying to see what I was getting into.
Right, and then you'll raise up. Abs really tight. Keep the butt high in the air, and then just lower down. Press on up. Give me 5 like that. And then gaze about 2 inches up.
Oh, I love, there's a little staple there. It's like my gonna be like
There's your
go-to.
landmark right there. Good. Keep the hips a little bit higher right there.
Like that?
And then
Okay.
one more.
Is that good?
Yep. And then stay right there. What I want you to do is down on your elbows
Plank.
and then press up.
Oh, like, okay.
Yeah, triceps, press ups, I call these. So for people doing workouts at home, and then keep going with that there. Yeah, when doing workouts at home, especially in 2020, I had to get creative with a lot of ways to work different muscles without the machines or without a lot of equipment. So this is one way to work the triceps and your core.
Right on.
Keep going, 4 more each arm. There you go. Yeah, and you can see this a little shoulder action, core work, triceps.
So you've been doing this since 2019, or did you just because you did before, you worked at a gym, right?
I did 2019. Before that, I trained. Give me one more there. I trained people in home and then press up, or like at a park, but mostly neighbors. And then drop your knees. Sit back, feet together, knees out. Quick rest. Child's
Mostly neighbors? That's cool.
Yeah, like just kind of starting out, and then come into tabletop right here.
Well, I think it's really good to have the whole that you were in pain and had issues, because, you know, it's good that people can't really use excuses with you. They're like, you know, if you
Yeah.
overcame things, and they can.
Yeah. And even if our workout for that day is stretching and just moving your body and picking things up, and like you would do daily activities, that's still a workout, because we're training
Right.
for life, right? Not just for the sake of training one muscle. We're training so we can be better each day. So
So what
like
am I
to
doing
focus on
now?
that. Stand up here. We're going to do some deadlifts. So with deadlifts, I'll give you these dumbbells. What I want you to do, bring the shoulders back, pop the chest out, abs in really tight. You're going to do the same thing. Roll the weight onto your toes, then back to your heels, and reach your butt back like you're trying to close a door with your butt. Keeping your knees where they are. Yeah, a lot
The
of times.
door with the butt.
Yeah, people will do a deadlift and they'll round their back a
Oh,
lot.
it's the worst.
Yes, it makes me, I get like, no, like, no, don't do that. So I'll give you these. Just think like you're trying to stay still in one spot, and then just reach the butt back, shoot it forward, more of a back and forth rather than up and
Back
down.
and forth.
Yeah.
So do you ever have a boyfriend that you do this with?
He doesn't like to work out so much.
Oh, that's so
But
messed
we're
up,
getting
right?
there. We're getting there.
Oh no. He probably doesn't like you telling him what to do, does he?
No, he does not. Work in progress.
So what do you like to do? Do you like to do it with a straight bar? Or do you like doing double?
I love barbell anything.
Oh really? That's your jam?
Yeah. And when you do this, so try to keep the butt higher, like bring your chest down. See if you feel more hamstrings rather than sitting down. Just kind of put more weight in your heels. Yeah, there you go. Like reach back and think of keeping the butt high in the air. And you'll feel a little more hamstrings. Maybe. No. And then just give me 2 more. Keep the shoulders back. Yes, I like to focus a lot on form too. And stand up and then set those down.
Right on.
How's that feel?
Oh, it's
muscles
fine.
working, muscles firing.
Right on.
Yeah.
Your hands are cold.
I know it's raining and everything in Fresno, so I'm just like, keep them
I'm like,
cold.
your hands are cold.
More incentive to work out, right? In the winter.
So
Yeah.
what's next?
Let's do some abs, yeah?
Let's do abs.
Abs sounds good. Give me 10 full sit-ups here.
Just
So we're
regular ones?
Yeah, you're just gonna lay on your back. Bend the knees, plant the feet. Hands behind your head, or you can have them behind your head to help you shoot up a little bit. Tap the toes.
So you want
Otherwise-
them up and then going and then tapping the toes when you're up here?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, if you can do it without the momentum, then just do a full crunch up.
Oh, so you don't want us to tap the toes? Okay.
Depends. This is a little bit easier with the hands.
Oh.
If you need the hands for
Hold on,
momentum,
let me move this. This is hurting me.
you're good. You're good. You're good.
You don't
Otherwise,
have one on
full
the back?
crunch.
Where's your little ab?
On my hip, on the
no
side.
wonder. I'm like, that really hurts.
So when it gets to side planks, I'll be screaming. So we're gonna do 10 right here.
You're not going to, oh, well,
You're
yeah.
three.
If you're going to be on your hip, yeah.
If we dip down,
If you're going to be on your hip, yeah. I was like,
you
oh,
go.
why am I back on my back?
there you go. Boom,
This is fun.
boom. You know what? I was
Do
actually
you like doing abs or not really?
I go in phases. And then right here, bicycle crunches. I was reading an article once. It said, and just keep going till I say stop, okay?
Okay.
We're gonna go for endurance. It said that ab work releases the most endorphins. So whenever you're stressed or you're ticked off, go train abs. So what I used to do when I would get mad or just frustrated, I'd go get on my exercise ball and just do a bunch of crunches. And I don't know if it actually made me more happy or just freaking distracted
Is it
and
better
sore.
than headstands? I thought headstands release the most endorphins.
Headstands do this. See, I haven't tried that as much. And then you're gonna flip over. So go ahead and do a full sit up. Right here.
Oh, then we're going to plank.
We're gonna plank.
I think I can handle this with the mic there.
There you go. With a hip twist. So this is a very subtle way to feel your obliques.
So
Keep
you
the
know
butt
that, so you know
high
that they're there?
Yeah. So
I
they're
thought you
still
were not
there.
supposed to put your butt really high with planks.
It
Yours you are?
depends. It depends if you have lower back. For people with lower back pain, I tell them to keep it a little bit higher.
Really?
Otherwise, you can keep it low.
I yell at people that go high on planks.
Yeah, it's like very subjective. Let's go. 4,
Maybe I'm just mean.
3, 2, and 1. And then you're going to turn on one side. So for those side planks here. Lift up and then dip down. We're going to go 15.
No, this looks weird.
How's that heart rate? How's that breathing? Getting up, feeling it? Lift the leg if you can.
Oh, I think there's a hair on there. That just looks funny now.
And I've lost count. Let's do 2 more.
2.
And 1, and then down. We're gonna flip over other side.
You want to flip over this? Yeah.
Yeah,
There we
yeah,
have
yeah,
the same
yeah.
idea.
Balancing it out. There you go. So we'll do about 10 regular, and then the last 5 we'll raise that leg. 3, 4, 6, 8, and then raise the leg. Make it harder. So this will work on your balance, that deep inner core.
You want to have that deep
Those
inner
muscles,
core.
yeah, for a better deadlift. And then back to sit-ups again.
Okay. So same way.
Yep, just full sit-ups, 10. So when I used to train, when I first started training, or weightlifting, excuse me, at GB3, they would call me that girl with the abs because I would always be training abs, and then eventually I'd come in with a 6-pack and do more abs. They're like, girl,
How
where'd
funny.
you get those? And I'm like, right over there, that machine. This one here.
I didn't even know they had nicknames like that, GB3.
And then one more. Good, let's finish it out with more push-ups. So when I put together a workout in the gym, it'll be a lot different than at home body weight stuff, but it depends on how the client's coming in that day, you know, what they've had to eat, how their energy levels are, and then what our goal is overall.
Right.
So here we're just demonstrating again, like all the basic movements. Kind of hard to talk doing push-ups, huh? Let's do 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees apart, feet together, sit back, child's pose, deep breath.
Right on.
Big inhale, exhale. A lot of the stretches I do are yoga infused. So then come up to a kneeling position.
We kneel.
Reach up.
Do you
to
like
the side.
yoga?
I love yoga. You
Do
know,
you teach that in your classes or your training?
I tell people I'm not a certified yoga instructor, but I incorporate all of those stretches into our workout because it feels good. It heals the body.
Yeah, why not?
It's coming to the mind, yeah. And then one more each side.
Yeah, it's different. We're just doing a few stretches. You don't have to be like certified. So it's like
Yeah, it's like this is from yoga, but and then take the left leg forward,
yeah.
heel down. I call this the Captain Morgan, so whatever you call it. Then you want to feel this in the front quad, or in the quad of the back leg, so the
So what are we
front
doing
of the
now?
back leg. Just stretching right
okay.
here. Yep.
I thought we were gonna get up and do something funny. I was like, oh, like what? You're like,
I mean-
I thought we were gonna get up and I was like, hey, what are we doing now?
I mean, we can. And then toe up right here, back hamstring. Feel this in the back of the leg right there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then face me in that same kneeling position right here. Foot out, toe up. You're just gonna get a big inner thigh stretch right here.
You like that inner thigh stretch? You're all about the inner thighs, girl, aren't you?
They used to call them those trouble zones. It's one of the trouble zones, so we gotta work them, we gotta stretch them. Get the other inner thigh there too.
That makes sense. You gotta work him, you gotta stretch him.
Yep. Good, and then we'll take the other leg forward into that same kneeling stretch right here. And then rock it back.
I love those
hamstring.
Skechers. Those look really comfortable.
They really are. It's like walking on a cloud.
I love
have-
Skechers. I'm a big Skecher fan.
Yeah, this has the memory foam in them. So
Oh man.
I used to lift in Converse too, but I find that
Yeah,
sometimes
some people want
barefoot's
to
better.
be. Yeah, some people want to be close to ground. Some people don't. I get it.
Right. I can take it back into child's pose one more time.
Well, thank you so much for coming on my show, girl.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
I know. Come back anytime. We'll do a little sesh.
We'll get some burpees in next time.
You gotta do a sparkle burpee then.
Ooh, what's a sparkle burpee?
You want to see a sparkle burpee?
Yes, I do.
Hold on. Let me.
I'm up for the challenge.
Wait, we're gonna take this mic off for that. This is a big way. So no one can hear me for a little bit. Hold on. I can't do it with the mic on.
Woo!
Sparkle burpee.
Woo! Okay, I'm gonna do that. Woo! Yeah! Thanks, Sparkle.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh, I must confess, dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend.
It's a mystery.